Hi, good morning. This is the Bitcoin Morning Brief. It is June 13th. I hope that everyone is having a great day so far. We have Giacomo on, and Tone is streaming from Dublin. It kind of looks like he's in a yard like me, but not. So let's throw all of us on. Where are you right now, Tone?
Hey guys, no, I'm in the media room actually. We are indoors, still at the Money Conference. It's winding down. It was a really good conference. Really enjoyed it. I think the next one that they're doing is I think it's called Rise, and it's going to be in Hong Kong. There's a big poster behind me, but it's Web Summit is the main organizer of these events. They do MoneyConf is one of them, and they have a couple of others. So yeah, well, watch out for those. It's a I think crypto was about 25% of the conference. It's not really a crypto conference, but it was great. Hung out with Max Kaiser a lot. He was here, so it was fun.
How's Max Coin going?
I think it's up. I think it's up big like this week, which is crazy considering everything else is down. So that's funny.
Giacomo, how's it going? We're happy to have you back on.
Oh, thank you. I'm happy to be back. I'm in London, so I'm closer to Tone than usual, and just across the pond.
Oh,
And
wait, Giacomo. I'm going to London tomorrow. Are you going to be there?
leaving at like 8:30, unfortunately.
Oh
The
man,
morning.
I'm
Yeah.
landing at like 1.
We'll miss each other again. I was here today for this blockchain summit, which is a kind of scammy conference, but there was the organizer of the ICO trades wanted to have me as ICO naysayer, and so I gave a speech about against ICO inside an ICO conference, which was nice. I explained the ICO triangle that I'm explaining in these last months. But it's
So,
it's fine. It's nice.
so it went well.
Sorry.
So it went well. It was at least fun.
Yeah. It was fun. It was fun. People was actually. I think people was happy to hear at least one contrarian voice after. I mean, when you spend, even if you are like an ICO fan, when you spend 3 hours in an ICO pitching contest, you really want to like it's probably it's liberatory for everybody to see to hear something which makes some sense.
Nice. All right. And question, it's a little dark, but are you wearing a blazer, Giacomo?
And I'm wearing jacket and Blockstream paid shield shirt.
Love it. Love it. All right. Let's
Oh,
jump in.
we lost Tone.
I think we did lose Tone. Tone.
And I am the host now. Great.
Yeah, go for it. Go for it. Especially
From
because
great
it's US
power.
politics. He comes with responsibility. Wow. Well, not sure. We might as well jump in. And yes, World Cup. Who do I want to win? Brazil.
The worst thing is that I'm not that good at technical analysis. So yeah, so probably I think the price would go up or down, and most probably down the short term and up the long term. That's all, folks.
Well, can I do the mempool today?
Yeah, sure.
I think that, there was a spike at 8 a.m., but all right, Tone's coming back in.
Okay, let's go back quiet.
All right, well, we'll try. Or we can just start making fun of him. Tone. At least I see his name.
Yeah.
All right, there we are.
Back.
Kind of.
The
Yeah.
internet went down. I
Okay.
turned on my hotspot. Hold on. It's
Okay.
amazing how it like.
Brazil.
So
Super fast.
for everybody looking at the show, Tone right now is
Hold
giving
on.
the exact price targets and the timing, but you cannot hear it, unfortunately.
Exactly. Actually, he's been shilling just, coins the whole time. And he just, it bleeped out. He's changed when he's there. All right, Giacomo, what do you think? You want to jump in? Tone. We got Tone stuck on Tone's show.
Jump in on what? We didn't ever mention the news.
FDIC. I don't know if he wants us to jump off at this point. I wonder if everybody can see him frozen. Oh, we can. It's kind of funny. All right. Well, Giacomo, tell us a little bit more about the conference then.
So it's
Until we get him back.
crypto compare conference, blockchain summit. I didn't see all the conference. I did see a few ICO pitch before me, and well, ICOs. And there was in the main stage. It was like Coinbase UK director. And the very funny thing is that there was a panel, like a very big panel, and the moderator of the panel was Stephen Tuell. So the guy that created the DAO disaster is not like is not just ridiculed on the street, but is on the stage presenting panels. So yeah, you can do really everything in your life. People will just forget everything. Incredible.
Oh my God. Tone, do we have you back on?
I think so. I don't see your videos, but that's okay.
Well,
Can
you
you
got
guys
it.
can you guys see me?
Yes,
Yeah.
we can.
Yeah,
Ready?
the Wi-Fi here went down. I see you guys now. Yeah, the Wi-Fi went down. I had to reconnect with my own hotspots.
Let's do it. And plus we have Thor and he wants to go after some rabbits. So let me get off screen before. Well, actually, for all the carnivores, they may be happy. Okay. All right. Is it up? Okay. Wait. Yeah? Okay, good. It's hard to see. Okay, cool. So we have the former FDIC chair urges Fed to consider issuing central bank digital currency. So that's Sheila Blair in the picture. And yes, she was the former FDIC chair. She made a statement, it's kind of just exactly what this says, is that the Fed should consider actually issuing a digital currency, and she's calling it the Fed coin. Tone, what did you think about her statements?
Okay, so here's wow, it I'm at a little bit at a loss for words, right? First of all, there already is a Fed coin. It's called the US dollar, right? So it's like the blatant like stupidity of the concept that you need to eliminate the dollar for the Fed coin. All you have to do is eliminate cash. Like, you don't need to create Fed coin. All you have to do is eliminate the 2% of the outstanding US dollars that are printed, and you have Fed coin. So at one point in the article, she talks about how difficult it would be eliminating all US dollars and replacing it with Fed coin. But what she wants already exists. It's called a digital US dollar. That's the stupidity part of like how the hell does this person ever become in charge of the FDIC when she doesn't know that what she wants is already 98 or 99% in existence? Okay, as far as her reasons for why she wants to eliminate cash, she missed one. So there's three reasons why the government wants to eliminate cash. She mentioned two of them. One of them is the ability for the government to set any monetary policy that they like without people having the ability to withdraw cash from the bank. They can make negative interest rates or confiscate your bank money or anything they like. That she talked about that. The other reason is you can't have a bank run, can't have a bank if there's no cash. Wait, can you guys hear me or did I lose you again?
No, we can hear you great.
Okay. The second reason that she mentioned is the avoid removing the possibility of a bank run. When Greece went down in 2015, people were lining up down the block to withdraw 20 euros in cash. When India redenominated their bills, people were running from bank to bank. So all of that disappears if there's no cash. Like, there's no ATM machines if there's no cash. They're not needed. So you can't, like, people can't run to the bank and withdraw their money because there's no money to withdraw. So she mentioned that. So the third reason that she forgot to mention as to why the governments want to eliminate all cash is because they think that cash is the reason why the governments are broke, because we're all tax cheats. And she forgot to mention that reason. That's probably the number one reason, is that the governments think that the reason why they haven't solved all of our problems is because we're depriving them of their confiscation of money.
Thanks, Tone. Yeah, I agree to your points for sure. And then she's actually laying out the risks to consider. Giacomo, do you agree with Tone's points, or what are your thoughts on this piece?
I completely agree 100% to what Tom said. I think he made all the right points. I can just elaborate a little bit further, but basically said everything. So the US dollar is mostly digital. So if what you want is a digital dollar, as Tom said, you already have it. You just have to eliminate the very, very small part of cash. Also, the second characteristic, when you have the digital dollar, do you have already a Fed cryptocurrency? What do you want to add to be more similar to a cryptocurrency? Well, basically things that probably the Fed don't want to add, which are basically one. To start, the Fed would like to eliminate cash because in that case they could confiscate money during a crisis without any kind of balancing power by the people withdrawing. But then all the other features of a cryptocurrency, the Fed wouldn't want them. Like first, the ability to print that money always directly without delegating this power to fractional reserve banking, which is typical in cryptocurrency where people tend to keep directly the fundamental currency without keeping bank intermediated IOUs. So usually the Fed doesn't inflate the currency, always printing new money, but it does inflate the currency, reducing the reserve requirements for commercial banks. So does the Fed want to incorporate directly all the inflation power itself? I don't think so. The reason they use a commercial bank to inflate is that it makes all the mechanism a little bit more hidden, more less responsible. So in a way, I don't think that's a feature for them. Second, a cryptocurrency is usually made in order to have a very stable and predictable and possibly a non-manipulable supply. Does the Fed want that? Probably not. They want to manipulate the interest rates. They want to manipulate the monetary base. That's their job, basically. Not that I like that kind of job. I think it's what creates cycles and crises, but it's their job. So if you have to create a currency that whose monetary base you can manipulate at will, that's very different from a cryptocurrency, unless you are thinking something like Ethereum. And then the last part is privacy. Usually what the central bank likes is, like other regulators, is control over the financial flows. And basically what the cryptocurrencies want to achieve is impossibility for control and censorship. So yeah, Tony is right. There is literally no, I mean, there is some sense into a digital Fed coin, and it equates to banning cash. There is no sense at all into Federal Reserve cryptocurrency or anything even similar to that.
Right. So I'll just mention one last thing, is that all of the risks that she points out in that article, they're not risks, because there's no need to create a Fed coin, right? All her risks are the elimination of the dollar in the place of the Fed coin. But if you just eliminate cash, none of those risks actually exist. Now, I will say that this will be the greatest thing ever for Bitcoin.
Yeah, what was interesting to me, I'll just note, was that, again, this was a former FDIC chair. And originally I was thinking why that FDIC of all people are speaking out on this, which does make sense, again, though, given the risk, although I agree with you, Tone. And again, right, she's speaking about the Fed, but actually Blair has spoken a lot about this before, when I remember one of the shows that we've done. And she was saying that before, that Bitcoin specifically is something regulators need to deal with, but not ban. So she's been pro Bitcoin before, and then saying that we don't ban assets, which is interesting. And then just lastly, that she specifically was saying that she worried that people were investing in digital currencies without understanding what they are. And again, because of the credit availability, everything, that's why she seems to, have authority to speak out. But again, these are bureaucrats. But yeah, I did find her statements pretty interesting, and all you guys provided points. Yep.
And also, here's the thing, right? If this comes true, there's no need for FDIC to exist, right? There's nothing to insure because people don't have any cash, right? Like FDIC is insuring the cash in your bank so that you have the ability to take that cash out. If there's no cash, FDIC insurance is not needed. It doesn't need to exist.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's okay to that point. And let's go to another government. So India's central bank admits it did no research before strangling cryptocurrencies. Again, we have promised you guys that we'd follow RBI. Pretty simply put, as to the title, that they didn't do any research. The whole story to me is that they seemed as if they didn't want to make any mistakes, and so what they said was no. Giacomo, what was your take when you read this?
So in dubio, in case of doubt, just ban it. That's the typical government. It was Reagan, like it was like if it moves, tax it. If it still moves, regulate it, and if it's dead, subsidize it. And yeah, typical approach. I don't even think that they would have the means to study this. I mean, many people in university don't understand Bitcoin. Many people in the R&D department of industries don't understand Bitcoin. Many people in startup in Silicon Valley types, they don't understand Bitcoin. So the dumbest circle of all, which is politicians and bureaucrats, it's unlikely that they could understand it. Maybe they could reduce the damage somehow with some study, but even if they wanted to study it, they would probably call the wrong people to explain them. So it's okay like that. We have an experiment. I mean, I'm sorry for people in India, but we have a good experiment in censorship resistant.
Tone?
Well, I don't really have any comments here because I'm not surprised. The Indian government did not look at this when they blatantly banned it. I mean, at least the Chinese government took a look at 60 ICOs. They've determined that every one of the 60 they looked at was an outright scam, and they therefore banned all ICOs. I'm not surprised at all that the Indian government just went ahead and did this because remember, 3 months earlier, they went ahead and canceled, $500 and $1,000 notes in exchange for a $2,000 note, not dollar, sorry, rupee note that didn't even exist, right? And they couldn't get them into the banks. So Indian financial government and regulators, they tend to just do whatever the hell they want. And I'm not surprised. And this is going to get real ugly for India because now that it's actually illegal to run an exchange, what's going to happen is everyone is going to create a fake exchange in India and scam people. So this is what they want. The government wants their population to be scammed. They don't want to work with actual exchanges like Uno Coin that are honest and will sell Bitcoin to their users under KYC fairly. But Indian government wants their people to be scammed for Bitcoin, and this is what happens. So I don't know. Well, like I really have no comment going forward. This is why all of the people that say country X is gonna replace America as the world superpower have absolutely no idea what they're talking about, right? Because other countries are close. Like I know I kind of made fun of India's currency the other day, saying that their currency is almost as good as the Venezuelan Bolivar, but it kind of is. Like, no offense to people in India, but your currency is closer to Venezuela than it is to the US dollar, I'm not saying you're there, but the probability of the US dollar going the way of Venezuelan Bolivar and the probability of the Indian rupee going the way of Bolivar, it's a lot closer that this will happen in India because their financial regulators do things like this. And one day, the Indian people could lose faith in their government and their government's ability to manage the money. And the moment that people lose faith in your government's ability to manage the money, your currency goes into hyperinflation. So I'm not surprised that this happened over there.
Right. And if everybody remembers the history in India, I mean, it's always been for a very long time a nightmare on their monetary policy and RBI's potential or attempt at control. I mean, their demonetization, I think, was in 2016, where they tried to scrap the 500 and 1,000 rupees. They've been trying to scrap the lakhs, you know, and it has not been successful. And they have not had control over it, and they don't have control over the vast majority of their economy. I think statistic is still like 75% is shadow economy. Yes, I see this as again, they, to your point, Giacomo, that they, you know, that they're just trying to do anything to try to take control over this situation, which I think they haven't had control over, not just the confusion in the space of cryptos, but also in their monetary policy in general for a while. Apple. So Apple, don't use your iPhone to mine cryptocurrency. So it's really updating their guidelines. They're saying, again, that they believe that if you can mine on apps, which I'm a little confused on, to be honest, that it's going to drain their power of the phones so much that it will overheat and also just mess up the rest of their apps. Giacomo, is this prudent? You know, is this a good idea? It seems like good guidance, but what's going on?
I mean, it's also very good guidance to avoid to take your phone and shove it into your trachea and suffocate. I mean, yeah, they're all good guidance. I'm not sure there was much people. Well, people is strange, but I'm not sure there was a lot of people trying to mine from a cell phone. Probably a lot of botnets. So maybe some application was using botnets, other people's money. But I think especially on Android. On Apple is a little bit more difficult to sneak in with something like that. So it's correct that a cell phone is not a good instrument to mine Bitcoin. It's like it's not even a GPU like instrument. It's a CPU like instrument, and all the major cryptocurrency algorithm are now optimized into at least the GPU. So yeah, people don't use your cell phone to mine. That makes sense. Strange.
Tone, what did you think when you read this story?
I mean, the only thing I could think of is I bet Apple ran into, well, obviously, mining with your cell phone is stupid. So, and it's bad for the phone. And then users will complain to Apple, hey, I have a warranty. You have to fix my phone because I burned the shit out of it using an app that promised I was going to make $50 a day mining. And all it did was destroy my phone. So I understand they probably got bothered by it, and now it's in their policy. Hey, you want to mine Bitcoin? Go get an Android, go install any APK that you like, and there you go. Like, Apple is closed source. You want to have more control over your apps? Go get Android. Otherwise, don't complain about Apple.
I've heard that. You guys make fun of me for iPhone quite a lot. But yes, I also am, to be honest, a bit confused on why someone would mine from their iPhone. But yeah, so the big story, it seems, of the day, and that we've been covering for quite a while. But so Bitcoin's price was artificially, let me get the title, inflated last year, researchers say. Now I'm going to skip down to what I think is the big importance of what they're saying, which is Mr. Griffin, and this is the researcher academic that published the paper, looked at the flow of digital tokens going in and out of Bitfinex and identified several distinct patterns that suggest that someone or some people at the exchange successfully worked to push up prices when they sagged at other exchanges. To do that, the person or people used a secondary virtual currency known as Tether, which was created and sold by the owners of Bitfinex to buy those other cryptocurrencies. So a story that, again, this isn't validated. This is what, it's a paper. It's what they believe. They looked into price increases, and I'll probably have Giacomo explain exactly how they were doing their research. But again, this is a story that we have been covering, that everybody's been talking about, but now we have a research paper that is trying to prove it as evidence. Tone, what did you think?
I mean, we've dealt with this, right? We dealt with this in real time. Jimmy and I interviewed Bitfinex, debated with Flibber and Vix, who for some, God knows what reason, were defending Bitfinex. Now, this has been suspected. Now, I have a problem with Tether, regardless of whether it is or isn't fully backed. I don't really care. I think Tether is a systemic risk and it shouldn't exist, because the government can always show up and take the underlying dollars if they exist. If those underlying dollars don't exist, and Bitfinex was printing Tether to buy Bitcoin, they weren't doing it to lift the price of Bitcoin. Like, this is where conspiracy theories go awry. If Bitfinex was printing a Tether out of thin air to buy Bitcoin, it was just a scam to buy Bitcoin, right? It wasn't a conspiracy to drive the price of Bitcoin up, right? If I am printing monopoly money and you are accepting my monopoly money in exchange for your gold, I will buy up a bunch of gold because I want gold or whatever, seashells, t-shirts, doesn't matter, right? So the last thing I want is for the price of the thing that I am buying to go up. I want to buy the maximum amount of let's assume, I'm going to play my own devil's advocate. Let's assume Bitfinex was printing Tether out of thin air, which is what Bitfinex alleges, right? Then somebody was buying Bitcoin because they wanted to get rich. The last thing they wanted was to see the price of Bitcoin go up. The price of Bitcoin continued to go up. Now, where this insanity breaks down is that if it was true that Tether was being printed to manipulate the price of Bitcoin higher, then we would still be going higher, because Tether continues to be printed, but the price continues to go down. Like, there was just as much Tether printed in the first quarter of this year, I'm pretty sure, as there was in the last quarter of last year. Yet the price of Bitcoin was down 50%. So it has nothing to do with that, right? If there was criminal activity here, it was somebody was exchanging fraudulent digital assets for a valuable digital asset like Bitcoin, okay? That's it, okay? The reason why the price went up so much is because people were FOMOing at the price going up, creating this cycle, okay? So I don't like these papers. I don't like everyone screaming manipulation, because they were on the wrong side of the trade. Learn technical analysis, and you could have wrote it all the way up, and you could have, defended yourself all the way down, okay? I don't blame Tether for manipulating the price of Bitcoin higher. I think that's ridiculous.
I know, I'm on mute. Giacomo, what did you think?
So I disagree with Tone about the fact that Tether, as his evaluation of the experiment of Tether in general. I think that yes, it's a very huge systemic risk, but so is also the habit to just have fiat money directly wired into exchange. As I said in a previous episode, I think that the concept itself of segregating, separating, decoupling the fiat to fiat IOU phase from the fiat exchange with Bitcoin phase, with leverage, long, short, order books, and everything is very, very interesting, especially because eventually the second part could be partially or totally made non-custodial, and so way harder to attack from hacker or from governments, and eventually maybe, I know that it's very vaporware for now, but eventually decentralized or partially decentralized, so much as to be censorship resistant. So that's not saying that the issuance of dollar denominated IOUs from a private company is itself censorship resistant. It's not, but I think that separating this kind of activity from the exchange activity that can be meaningfully decentralized is a good experiment, at least, and it doesn't increase the systemic risk in general, because it just moves it in different ways. If anything, I would like to see more concurrent experiment like Tethers. I would like to see them on top of good asset on Bitcoin protocols. So not Omni. Omni really sucks. And I would like to see them maybe constantly reviewed in many different jurisdictions, so that it's way harder to attack. So from a global, from the experimental point of view, I appreciate Tether. My main concerns were about liquidity, not just of the company, but also of their bank. But as I told you when I was contacted by somebody after one of our episodes, apparently they are using a full reserve bank, which is something very, very weird that I would like to watch closer, because it's very strange. The full reserve banks, never heard about something like that before. And I totally agree with Don about the price manipulation part. I didn't have the time to read this paper, but any theory that I mean, even the Wally the bot theory in empty gods, it was clearly something existent, but you cannot explain a long-term trend on something as big as Bitcoin market cap with some kind of conspiracy. Usually, as Tom said, if you can buy Bitcoin with fake money, you just buy Bitcoin because you want Bitcoin, not in order to drive the price in some strange fashion. And if I can think about very, very strong and liquid attackers, I would think about actors that have any interest to actually suppress temporarily the price of Bitcoin, not to pump it. So I totally agree with Tone that I don't really buy any kind of long-term sustained price manipulation. You can do, it's so easy to do short-term, 2-week long pump and dumps on illiquid scam coins. Why the hell should you use a lot of risk and a lot of money to create a month-long $1 billion based Bitcoin pump?
Sorry, hey Giacomo, I actually have to they're closing the whole place down, so I have literally about 3 minutes before
Tone's
we have
getting
to,
kicked out, and you may win your Doug Polk bet.
Yeah, so also I don't have enough bandwidth because they cut the internet the moment we started the show, so I've been tethering, and I don't have enough bandwidth to actually look at any charts. Maybe if we all turn off our video cameras, that might help. So if you guys don't mind, we can try that. And I can go to screen share and give it a second. But here's what I see. So I have no idea what the price of Bitcoin is, because this is what my charts look like at the moment. This is what happens again. I'm traveling and I'm at a conference. Maybe without video bandwidth, it might work. So once again, apparently, as the live chat is telling me, the price of Bitcoin just crashed a few $100s, and I have absolutely no ability to even see it, and yet half the internet is mad at me. How come I don't trade? The reason why I don't trade is because if I don't have internet to adjust my positions, I will lose all of my money. And if you can't sit in front of a market all day, don't complain that some YouTuber made you lose all your money. You need to, trading is a job. It's not something you do. Like, here are what my charts look like. So unfortunately, because the internet got taken down, because the conference ended. Oh, I do have a chart. I have a 12-hour chart. My indicator is not loading, but at least I can see a candle. But this candle still has 7 hours to go. So you cannot assume it's going to be a reversal candle, because it can easily close at below 6,000. Look, I did not expect it to fall this much, this quickly. I did not expect to win my bet with Doug Polk today. I really thought I was going to win it early next month. So we're literally 1 month ahead of schedule. And I see again, this is the problem, right? The world, oh, here, the weekly chart's up. The indicator is not loading, but here's the weekly chart. We're falling much faster than we did. Oh, what happened there? Nope, sorry guys. The 12-hour chart is all I have. The time to short. This is why I'm not, in the way I trade, I'm not a fan of buying the dip. I find that buying the dip is very difficult, and the time to trade is on new breakdowns and breakouts. So the time to short was the breakdown of 7,000, and another time to short was the breakdown of 6,750. And if we can bounce back up, the next time to short will probably be at 6,000. There's nothing really more I can say other than if you have, I don't even have my, TI indicator, so I can't see it. I will not assume that this is the bottom for today. I can't. We need to see where the candles close, and if they close on a hammer, oh, no charts, guys. Sorry. Gonna stop screen share. So, and now there's like a dinner and after event. So I will probably not look at price again until like 6 hours from now or something, like 4 hours from now. So you guys are on your own, right? This is why I tell people, learn to trade and stop screen share. This is why I tell people, learn how to trade and don't depend on people of the internet, okay? I have a website that teaches you how to trade, and you can attend one of my workshops. So check out tonebase.com. All right, guys. On this note, what am I missing here? On this note, I am going to have to say goodbye. Any closing thoughts?
No, everybody have a great day. I think I'm the only one that just went back on video. All right, there we have Giacomo. All right, Giacomo,
Yeah.
have a great time.
To closing thought,
All
to
right,
the
guys.
moon eventually. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.